Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Assetto Corsa Competizione Sim Series. I am your host, Gareth Ronther, and we are in the excellent South African track of Kyalami, one of my favourites that we have the option to run here in ACC. And I'm very excited to tell you that we have an excellently varied field of cars today. We are not stuck in the trap that everyone thought we would be in. Wow, it's BMWs, it's going to be all BMWs, only BMWs. It is not. And so I'm very excited to show you quite a varied rundown of cars, including an incredible amount of Audis. I am hoping that it is not just a trap, that these people are actually, and some of them we know are Audi drivers. Obviously, Guillaume Hamling, Robert Brenning have been long-time Audi drivers, so they were sort of obvious to do it. Alan Noah, I know, has switched to Audi fully after he did not enjoy the changes to his beloved Bentley in the 1.8 update. And I'm hoping that the other 3 or 4 that we have aren't also just picking the Audi because of this track. But Mr. T has been hopping around a few cars as well since the Bentley, so I've got a good feeling that even though it's a surprising amount of Audis, that it's not just because it's so good at Kyalami. Shane Thomas in the Lamborghini, because he's too much of a hipster to drive the BMW, because there's so many BMWs. It's crazy. Not many McLarens, which is surprising, because honestly, the McLaren seems like it is as good as the BMW in many ways. And so it is interesting seeing so few of those. Got a couple of Lexi, a couple of AMGs. Got some AMG hype in the chat as well. So yeah, that's something that we've been very much lacking for a while. A few Ferraris, there's always a few Ferraris hiding in there, and Jamie Nutter was back in his Porsche, so a really nice combination of cars for us. I'm gonna turn up the volume a little bit for you guys, because I know that you like it a bit louder than I am used to giving. We have just a little while left in our practice. There we go, we've got our overall going. Mr. T still sitting in the pits, so annoyingly we're looking at the bottom of the grid. The Lambo is lovely here, says Gungan Trousers. I have actually driven the Lambo here, and that is quite nice as well. I do enjoy it around here, so that Audi base obviously helping out a little bit. A lot of people as well. This is the fullest pro split we've had ever since we started the whole pro split thing, so that is very good to see. We are just waiting to fall over into qualifying. Nobody wants to run the Jag today. Thank you, Shumi Fox in chat, for bringing up the best car, clearly. Couple of Ferraris here. Have fun with that. So Roy become a real hater in his old age, and is not here for the superior Italian race car, which I'm very upset to see. He would stoop so low. We do have a Bentley as well. I just see Scholl there is actually driving a Bentley, so that's another one. Ludgate still in the Bentley, so we do have a few of those even. Very few cars missing from our lineup. We also have been doing we are running a test today, which I will get up my thing to see if I can remember who is involved in the test. I might not have actually seen everyone with it. Here we go, into qualifying. There we go. That is the test that we are running right now. As you can see, we are just doing a little run to see if custom liveries will be viable with the changes that have been made. People have said so. They have said as much. I'm not sure I believe them, but it's always worth giving a bit of a test. So we have a few people running customs. There are a couple people I think I actually didn't see their message that I'm only just seeing now, so a bit late to add their custom liveries, sadly. So I believe Steve Hughes, he said he had one, but he sent me one, but that is definitely a regular custom, so I don't know if he's not running it or anything. This is Martin Roundtree. He also, at least said he was going to send me a custom livery. People clearly not used to running the custom liveries. But we will, the important thing to test is when we get to seeing if the replays run very well. They very well are saying loading time into replay is much better from my experience, which I also have seen, but only with 1 or 2 liveries in. Unfortunately, some of these guys seem to not be running the liveries they sent me, so that does actually not help the testing as much. But that means at least it should be fine. Yes, very packed quality session, as you can see. I did remember to remind people to make sure they gave space, but as you can see from the track map, very full lineup. Up on board with Mr. T, going through these first corners. Oh, I forgot my cameras are changed. Oh, my bad. First sector, it's really wiggly part. That turn 3 is often a sticking point where we'll probably see some sort of incident early on. We'll cut over to the right through these few corners, and it really is a great track where I feel like there are quite a few overtaking opportunities, although it does normally just come down to turn 1, especially in these higher splits. There's a lot of different corners, a lot of places where you can gain or lose time. This hairpin particularly is a great one. In GT4 you can really send one down the side of there as well. I don't think it's quite as easy in GT3, but we might see a few things happening there. And then this incredibly fast corner where some moves will be made. Oh, title needs to be updated. Yes, pros. I'm used to Streamlabs OBS, which reminds me to change the title every time I go through there. So let's do a proper first lap with Mr. T. This should be he's had a lap to warm up. He's going hard. Brake at the 100 mark, huge braking point. A lot of lines you can take through turn 1. T going for a bit of the cut in, tighter line. You can also see people who V off the corner a little bit more, and then you're pretty much full speed through here. You've got to brake in a very awkward angle there because you've got to straighten up, so you end up braking diagonally towards the outside of the track before cutting in to this little straight. Very fast corner here where you can go side by side if someone gets a bad exit from the last corner, but it's a bit of a luck if you can manage to do that. Big braking from the 50 down, clamber over that curb out to the exit, and then you have the S's. Really easy place to lose the car here. I expect we'll see a few people in the gravel or the walls around there because you really want to throw it in. Still quite fast, but you need to lose enough speed to not oversteer off the edge of the corner, braking into the hairpin again. Another corner which can have a few lines. You can sort of run deeper and veer off a bit more, or go through a bit smoother like T has been doing. Then you're full flat down here. Big braking at about the 100 meter board again, staying really far out, cutting in over this curb, hit the exit, and then we have the curb of death. You just got to throw the car in there, or we'll lose a little bit of time on the grass. But then braking nice and early into the last corner so that you can get on the power as soon as possible and come across the line. So Jamie Nuttall has the fastest time so far with a 140, with 3 BMWs just behind him. The highest Audi is Mr. T on a 141.3, with the fastest first sector. And a nice little variety of cars spattered throughout those BMWs. BMWs are definitely looking strong, despite not having too many of them there. We also have a lot of our very fast boys in that car. A lot of people, actually, funnily, in that list who are people who have picked the BMW just as a response to their car being changed in ways they don't like. Jack Harvey not loving the changes to the Lexus, and the same with Steve Hughes and the Bentley. So Richard Maiden priced right here, 21st so far, but coming in with a really big improvement on his time. Going to jump his way up to 14th. Lost a little bit there. 3/10 out of that last corner, but still a very strong lap. Big improvement there from Harvey, putting himself up into 2nd position. A lot of fighting here between these BMWs, and then Audi's right behind, getting a bit of a clear tier list with these cars in the early points of qualifying at least, but with the Porsche still in the lead. Make sure to get our lovely partners pitwall.live started as well, so you can head to pitwall.live if you want to see live timings of the race. Ollie Henley out here in Aston Martin, just ahead of that BMW, getting bullied a little bit there on the pit exit. He's broken up that BMW Germany there with a nice run in his Aston. A few people there diving out on the first corner. Just getting out of Shane's way there. In the Lamborghini, how is Shane doing? Where is he? Shane Thomas, 17th position in the Amel-Ferrari Lamborghini. He's actually just getting out the way and letting those two pass, so clearly not on a lap. Christian, another Audi on a pretty decent improvement. Could hop him up a few places here. Mr. T and Sam Fleetley both also breaking up the BMWs. Oh, very wide there from both of those cars into the last corner. That, I think, definitely invalidated his lap there, which was looking quite good for a bit there. Oh, more people giving up on their laps. So here's one of the Lexi, the two Lexi right together, pretty low down. Which, not looking great for the performance of those cars this patch. Same with the Bentley, which is also right down here. Both the Ferraris, I must admit, so, you know, Roy Weller's hate perhaps being slightly justified. See in the background here, Ollie Henley as well on his flying lap.
So rough, yeah.
Thank you, Healthy Keys, for joining us. I do appreciate any of the follows or support, as we will be streaming as much as possible throughout the season. For now, we have Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays covered. Fridays might not be fully consistent, and a couple of the other days here and there might shift around, as we obviously only a volunteer crew. And even though we have had a bunch of people who have put themselves forward to help us with broadcasting and co-commentating, and it's been good to get two people on the commentary booth more often. It's surprisingly few people free on Sundays, so Everyone taking the Lord's Day to rest, and Ollie Henley there just behind. Move up the standing orders to 4th position in the Aston Martin, doing very good. Shane Thomas perhaps shouldn't have abandoned that one so late in the day. Oh, Inc, terrible one. Good to see that we've had a good bunch of numbers early on in this season. It seems like a lot of people have sort of returned from their hibernation over the Christmas holidays. I'm definitely one of them, by the way. So it's been nice to have a load of people again. Guillaume Hamling, the Audi King, getting a few more positions here. He is Bumblebee. So the BMW slowly getting knocked down, but a few of them are trying to fight back. Steve Hughes and Jack Harvey were both on decent starts to a lap there, but just haven't been able to keep it consistent. Another Audi for Alan Noah. This USA looking WRT Audi livery. So he's a broadcaster who needs any sort of PC. Just need to be able to watch a stream and talk on Discord. Here we go, Alan Doa up to 12th. So another Audi slowly rising up the order. Oh, and as we see the pink grille of this magnificent Bentley cross the line, a little bit of an improvement in time, but it doesn't look like he got a huge place. Maybe he had invalidated that, but climbing his way up the order a little bit. He was right down there with the Lexi earlier on, but he is, and the Ferraris, but he is just chugging his way up. Good to see that there is still life in the big old Bentley yet. We have a car off at I believe Cheetah. We need to get the Kyalami corner lens up, because I'm not so good with them. I know Cheetah and Kyalami are the... No, Cheetah and Crocodile are the two famous ones. No, that was Crocodile where someone was off. Cheetah is the Curb of Death corner, which is very clearly the actual name. Shout out to Medium Racing there in the chat. Thank you, Smithwells. Line Muller there just coming past a stricken Aston there. So that was Ollie Henley running wide at the Curb of Death corner. BMWs, with the help of Steve Hughes and Jack Harvey, who I was talking about looking to improve their time, have started to dominate the top of the timings a little bit again. We'll sit on the nose cam through sunset. Big sweeping right-hander. Really fun section of the course, in my opinion. A lot of big clambering over curbs, which might be explaining why some cars like the Ferrari aren't doing too well. We are right at the end of qualifying now. We've had a few people cross the checkered flags already. Still keeping an improvement in hand, but only just. He only needs a very small improvement to jump up a lot of places. 1/10 could put him up to 4th. All about that last corner. He's just held a 10th improvement, I think, so this could be a really big one. Oh, only 7th. Exact same time there as Ollie Henley. Exact same time. And that will leave him in 7th position. Completely interesting in the Audi, having the fastest first sector. The Audis do really seem to dominate that first sector. Yeah, interesting to see a purple sector held by someone so far down. A pretty dominant performance there by Jamie Null. So huge shouts out to him as we head towards the Greg. So we return to the grid with Jamie Nuttall on the Porsche in pole. Great to see a car that I'm not sure so many people expected to see up there being right at the front, ahead of the BMWs. But there are a lot of BMWs at the top, to be fair. Jack Harvey and Steve Hughes, 2 ACCS regulars, just behind them, with Steve Donald, another man who's becoming a bit of a regular, ahead of Junior. Ollie Henley in the Aston Martin, the first of the non-BMW cars, before Line Muller, who couldn't quite make it, or 5-man BMW stranglehold there. Before we get the Audis, Mr. T, Sam Fleetley, Guillaume Hamling, all in a row before the Andrea Dixon Chen in the 1 McLaren. Good to see him back ahead of Alan Noah, Van Ree, Robu, Mira, Maitland Price, Christie and Dudley, and only this far back do we really stop seeing that absolute battering of Audis. Tellers in another BMW ahead of 2 Mercedes, Brennan and Son. Good to be able to say we can see multiple Mercedes here. Then Shane Thomas and Dennis Workman ahead of Robert Brenning, Greg Ludgate, Rainer Scholl, Jonathan Schungel, Jan-Niklas Weschelberg, Wagners, Florian Sachs, John Walters, Christian Elberg, Martin Roundtree, and Gabrielle Blanchine. And that is your grid. Thank you everybody for watching. We're going to go to some quick ads and highlights before we get back to them at the start of the race.
Bring the smell of rain into my bed and lie so close to me. You could be inside my head. Maybe it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing to feel the kind of magic that your love brings.
here we go. Back into the start of the race, ready to see our boys roll it down to the first corner. Already some people going for some opportunistic good starts in the back as we get a BMW going right down on the inside. Jamie Nuttall takes the preferred line into the first corner and just stays ahead, while Ollie Henley is having a similar trouble with some Audis slightly further back. Don't see any carnage in the background yet, but this is going to be the corner where it will happen if it does. A couple of people going wide onto the grass, but it looks fairly clean. I'm going to turn off the standings while they are busy going crazy due to the way ACC works. As we are still watching Steve Donald in a fight here with Dave Jr. Very close to the back there as the first three are starting to sprint away a little bit. Standings have settled down. So Jamie Nuttall still leaving away from Jack Harvey. Steve Hughes, who has sort of bounded out a little bit ahead of Steve Donald and Dave Jr. already. Come round with a fantastic hairpin. There is a little bit of chaos further back, it seems. Oh no, that looks like Robert Brenning, one of the guys who was caught up in that. So let's have a see. It's a good test for our replays. See a little bit of a lag there, a little bit of a lag which wouldn't normally be there as we're coming in, but oh, it looks like Robert Brenning tags around the Audi. I think that was Richard Maitland-Price, if I remember correctly, yeah, and then he had to take across the grass as well, so it looks like only these two caught up in that, so might have not been too bad. Robert Brenning looks like being very careful and also letting his Audi compatriot back. Oh, and there's been more chaos. There has been actually more chaos. We've got a very battered up Schungel here, and the other Mercedes seem to get into something around the last corner. Not doing too badly here. Oh, and there was an Audi crash. There was an Audi already. Shane Thomas been caught up that as well. We didn't really get to see that from an opportune point to see how he caught that, whether he should have known that the Audi was there or not, or what the Audi happened. You can see it crabbing a little bit there. That Mercedes is not easy to handle right now. These two now set up at the back of the field. Shane Thomas just trying to pull away from that very damaged Mercedes. Up towards the top, however, not much has changed. Jimmy Nuttall is still leaving from Jack Harvey and Steve Hughes, and there's still quite a bit of a train going on behind here. You see a lot of clean and pristine cars here who haven't been in too much of a nightmare. A little bit of a side-by-side just behind us, which is terrifying going into that corner. That is going to slow down, I believe, Sam completely there a lot. He's just struggling to try and get the position back, and now Andre Dixon Chen is coming around his outside through the last corner. You can't park there. In response to the Audi being in the middle of the track, and Audi being in the middle of the course there has managed to take the position back onto Dixon Chen because he had the inside, which allows him to take a better line through this first sector that the Audi is so competent in. Got fighting going all the way back throughout the field. On board with the Lexus of the elbow. Thomas now and Noah, the only cars who seem to have been really wrecked in these early laps. You can see Jonathan Jungle there in the mirror, quite battered still. been there for Mr. Elbow. He almost did. You can see he's just as I was leaving him there, he started skidding, but he managed to catch that. So good job there from him. The pit window opens, so we'll definitely see some of the back guys coming in. I'm sure people like Shungle, Shane, the other Mercedes of Brenham. Some of these guys will be jumping in to get repairs and then just set to hot lap it. Miro having to defend from Octavian Robu. Very nice there, green livery. I believe that he is one of the people who sent me a custom as well, so we have two of the customs here from Octavian Robu and Derek's son. And there you can see on the minimap, as I was saying, a few of those cars from the back going into the pits. Well, I'm not sure number 65, no, so he doesn't feel like he has as much damage as it looks like he does from the outside. Jamie Nuttall has not done a 40, unless you're talking about quali. Oh, you are talking about quali, my bad. Yeah, he did do a 40 quali. He's done a 41-1 here though, which is incredibly impressive. Jack Harvey not far off that pace. So even in the race, they are doing incredibly impressive times. Here is the leaders and how they're slightly stretching out. Jamie Nuttall no longer in quite some contention from the next two, but Jack Harvey and Steve Hughes still clearly going to fight it out amongst themselves, with Steve Donald leading the sort of next train. Ollie Henley and Dave Jr. following him up. I keep wanting to call Dave Jr. Dan for some reason. I don't know why. I just think he is a Dan. Hamlin as well. A little bit of an Audi battle there. Sam Fleetley still keeping up with the mighty Audi Bumblebee. For those of you who are new here or didn't watch the last season, which was the first season we used this format, we are now doing an hour-long race for every single split of our championship, and I think it has been pretty successful overall. A lot of people from all splits have been enjoying it, and we've had some great races due to it. Especially in the pro split, it's really impressive to see how close these guys can stay to each other for the whole hour. Sit on board with the Aston Martin. This is something that I used to avoid doing in our broadcast because there were so damn many of them. But finally I can sit on board and enjoy this car as a bit more of a treat than a standard affair. I suppose we'll have to say the opposite about the Audi, however, for this season, because there are so many of them now. I'm struggling to find someone to spectate who isn't an Audi. Going on down here as well between two cars which are not always represented so well. Workman versus Scholl in the Bentley AMG battle. Plenty of small pairs of battles going on as well. Almost don't know where to look. Right here we've got an interesting one because this is Scholl, and that looks like the Porsche of Jamie Nuttall. It is. So Jonathan did decide in the end to pit for damage. You can see his AMG looking a lot nicer now, but slowed up the leader a lot there, and oh, he's going to get sent around by the second place, I believe, of Jack Harvey there, who has now lost out his position to Steve Hughes. So here we see Jamie Nuttall struggling to get through on the AMG, having to make a bit of a move there. and then through the S's, which to be fair to Jonathan is not a place you want to be letting someone past, and he gets just a little bit of a wiggle on during that corner, and I think that slows him down, and Jack Harvey isn't quite ready for the amount of change in speed that there's going to be between those two cars. That is an unfortunate one there, and might be putting Jack Harvey in even more trouble if he's deemed to have been at fault for that incident. The number 65 of Jonathan Schungel has only just got moving again from that incident, so must have had to wait a long time to rejoin there. Even though he's at the back of the pack, he was, you know, positionally, physically on the racetrack at the front of the pack, so he had to wait for everyone to go past him, which is an even bigger blow to his already damaged race. Request from the chat to watch Ludgate. Absolutely, we can check in with how he's doing the second of these two Bentleys. He's got a pretty good view, we sit on board here, with the two battling in front of him. This is Dennis Workman, who is one of the other AMG Mercedes. He's by far doing the best out of the Mercedes so far, up in 18th position. And these are Bentleys. I'm being told it's Ludgate's birthday, although I am now, Smalley has ruined me, and I am now suspicious every time anyone in chat says it's someone's birthday. But if it is Ludgate's birthday, happy birthday to him. Hope he can have a good race for that. Bit of a dive being made here by Mr. T, going to the inside into the first corner, not going to quite make it, really hard to make it stick into there. And this battling is just bringing the two behind them slightly closer into it as well. Eunice Ree going for a dive as well, and this one's actually going to come off a lot better. He makes up that position, and as I said in chat, these four very close to each other and have been chilling around in this little pack for quite a while. That is that actually Alan Noah behind Jonathan Schungel? That is. So amazingly, Jonathan Schungel has actually found someone who he can fight with for position, which is a good thing, because he can actually sit there and have some fun now with a proper race. It looked like his race was over, but he has a boy. Second Porsche here, not quite in quite a glamorous position as the first Porsche, but getting chased down by Shane Thomas, who I believed had been into pits for damage, but he clearly hasn't. He's just trying to pull his way up through the field, putting his nose on the inside through the hairpin. I'm going to get at least side by side there. And he's ahead into this braking zone. Is he going to be let to it by the Porsche? He is. And Weschelberg in the McLaren. Possibly the sole McLaren. There are very few McLarens in this race, which is, as we said before, surprising. As Octavian Robu receives a 5-second penalty. Actually just behind him, it looks like there's a bit of side-by-side action there. Backmark Alexis, that is why. And we're back to the same squabble as before. Miro, Van Rie, Tellers and Christie all incredibly close together. What did you miss, Joe? I know when you left, but you possibly missed Jonathan Schungel as a backmarker getting murdered by one of the front runners. Robert Brennan getting 10 seconds. That must be for the incident we saw in the S's very early on, first lap, I believe. up front. Steve Donald still sort of holding back these guys just behind him. Henley and Jr. have been keeping right to the back of him as the other three pull around. Steve Hughes now in second due to Jack Harvey coming together with Jonathan Shingle. Number 18 has just gone around as well, and he was someone who I believe we just saw in a bit of a fight, so we can hop back into the replay and see what happened with him. Is he just going to do Porsche things? No. He's passed Shane He's been passed by Shane Thomas, is what we watched of this Porsche earlier. He's going to come together with Bushwick, or no, onto the grass, just loses everything and into the wall. Oh, and a second hit on the back. You see, that's smart. What he's doing there, Gabrielli, is damaging the back of his car to keep the aero balance, right? Because obviously, when you punt face forward into a wall, you're going to lose a lot of your splitter, and so you want to take the diffuser out too to just readdress that aero balance. It's excellent advice. I don't know what you're talking about. So this is oh, what was that? Just a little bit of lag there from Line Muller. Okay, that terrified me for a little bit there, but this is another little pack that we have going on. I thought for a moment when I looked back at this was the sort of 14th through 17th pack, which is still going on, but this is actually Line Muller, T, Fleetley and Hamling battling for 7th position. You can see the other McLaren, Andrea Dixon Chen in the background. Andrea Dixon Chen, who I will remind you, was before Christmas complaining that going into Pro would mean he wouldn't be competitive anymore. He's now driving in an excellent 11th position, so shout out to him. Good to see him back from his holidays. Stewarding sheet as well. Do I have the opportunity? I do. Season 11, Pro Sunday, and it is round 1 because I want to check up if they have called the incident a back marker incident. Okay, so no, Jack Harvey can rest easy that he's not going to be getting a penalty for the incident with Shingle. The stewards have deemed it as Shingle's fault for being a bad back marker essentially, and he's been given a warning for that. So has to be a bit more careful next time, although he's not really near anyone else to get a lap, so he doesn't have to worry about that for a little while at least. We've had the 3 penalties coming in. The one that we haven't seen is for car 32. Who's that? Alan Noah. I think Alan Noah, is he left or is he still? No, he's still in. There we go. 15-second penalty for Alan Noah for an incident on lap 1. Reasonably clean race though overall. Not all very close to the car. They always sort of yellow flag, but I think that's just back marker perhaps going on the dirt a little bit to get out of the way. Hughes behind is going to be coming up on some of these soon enough. See the car there getting out of the way for Jamie Nuttall. I believe that was Derek's son. Good pace now reached a 140.9 during the race. Must have been a few laps ago. So huge pace from him, and you can see that's why he is pulling away from these guys before they've even reached the back markers. So Steve and Jack are going to have to do a great job getting through these back markers if they want to stay anywhere near close to Jamie. In on some of these guys again, make sure they're not doing anything fun that we miss out of into turn one. And we've had a little incident here which I want to see what that was. This is Rainer Schull just ahead of Greg Ludgate here going into Cheetah. Or is this going to be a death to the curb? No, that's one that you actually do see quite often here. It's just someone getting a little bit too fast through that corner behind someone else, and it's a corner that you really want to sort of flow through, and so if someone else is just going slightly slower in front of you, it can easily happen that you're just not quite judging the speed well enough, and it seems like that's what Ludgate has done here. Shane Thomas is in the pits finally. As Steve Hughes and Jack Harvey have made their way past the first back marker. Interesting back marker action here. Robert Brenning just trying to stay out of the way of Donald and Junior, who are still racing for this position. Ollie Henley just behind them. Yeah, are you going to stay out of the way of the BMW into that corner? Just stay wide and let them past. Back mark work there as well, just gets off the racing line and then lifts off the throttle gently, sends the other car flying past, and then here we go. This is what I was thinking the last one might have been, I think. Florian Sachs in the Ferrari coming up to the famous death curb. Chonk, and he's gone. It was always going to happen. Nice avoidance there by that BMW. And then Sachs gets off track, does a quick spin turn while there's no one there, and gets on his way again. Jack Harvey and Steve Hughes still staying right together, keeping this one interesting. Actually, Jack Harvey's ahead of Steve Hughes again. How did that happen? We'll hop to replay. Was it a back market? It looks like it was Derek's son just ahead of them who slowed down Steve Hughes. So both of them in about the same place now, getting done in by a back marker and swapping positions. This is happening twice for these guys. Derek's son manages to just, I think it's Derek's son. I'll have to make sure it is him, so that I'm not calling him out if it isn't. Yes, it is Derek's son. So yeah, interesting, these two having an absolute nightmare with back markers, which is allowing Jamie Nuttall to pull past even further. Really well at the hater, back here to hate, even though it was very clearly his own bad juju that has cursed the Ferraris this race. We've got two nice little BMW battles brewing here early on, or far up the order at least. Jack Harvey, Steve Hughes, and then Steve Donald, Dave Jr. just behind them. Ollie Henley not quite managing to just scrape to the back of this. Audi battle. So back to Chris Key and John Dudley. Right there, Chris just coming out of the pits, slotting in with these guys, all of whom have already pit, being led by Guillaume Hamlin. So I believe that is Ludgate, yep, and so he's going to be let past by Elberg. Back marker at work through there. Yep, it is Grosvenor. We are doing a little bit of a test today to see if we can possibly change our rules on supporting custom liveries. People have been reporting much improved performance with them in the recent patch. There is Derek Sun, who gone wide there from the Ferrari, and that has let not just Derek Sun pass, but Derek Sun also going off track a little bit, struggling in this car. That's let the Audi of Brenning past, and there's a BMW into the pits. Dave Jr. and Sebastian Lineman we can see going into the pits, so they have seen a ridiculous amount of back markers up ahead of them and do not want to get caught up in any of those shenanigans. Sit with Ludgate, see what's happening. Oh, and just as I decide to do that, car goes straight into the pits. Listen, I might leave it up to the broadcaster of each day whether they want to accept your custom liveries. So I'm just saying I will give Roy Weller that power, Cal. Although I mean, to be fair, it can only be an improvement on what you're running right now. A little bit of a mistake there, so we'll just check how that happened. Did he just go wide? Yeah. Bit too wide there through the hairpin. Unless he was actually, I think that was on purpose. I think that was a very nice back marker move there, just letting by the blue Audi, who... So many Audis. I'm not used to having this problem of not knowing who all the Audis are. Jamie Nuttall is still leading, he's still out there ahead. Jack Harvey is now lonely chasing as Steve Hughes has gone in for the undercut. Just behind him, Donald wishes he was more alone because Ollie Henley is right up behind him, pressuring him all the way through. race now, exactly halfway through, as the most amount of cars are on each strategy car still, each stint. Half of the guys have pit, half haven't, so a lot of people are very spread out on the track. Let's battle one of them that is just going to break up, Steve Donald going in there. And then Octavian Robu is apparently chasing Jason Chen, although hasn't just got past. No, they are both just happen to be next to different back markers, which confused me. So again, more of how much there is. Jamie Nuttall, Jack Harvey, Steve Donald all going to the pits, which leaves Ollie Henley out on his own in the lead of the race. More chaos here as the Ferrari and Mercedes battle just behind here. It is real. Derek Sun there just pushing past Florian Sachs with his 10-second penalty, so he needs to push up the road in that crack racing car. Steve Donald is now just ahead of Jack Harvey, so that's been a really good pit stop phase for them. Steve Hughes still second position of those who have pit, with Jamie Nuttall out in front, but then Dave Jr. and Steve Donald have both jumped ahead of Jack Harvey. Perhaps repaired a bit too much damage in the pits, or just had a few bad in-lap or out-laps. Mr. T, the leading Audi of those who have pit so far. We'll see what happens when Octavian Robu pits. Completely Mr. T here, still in their little Audi battle, very close to each other. So they come through the S's. Be a lot closer on that to send something up the inside at the hairpin. So he's just going to have to settle in a little bit more. A few more people just coming out of the pits as well, which is sending my timing screens a little bit crazy. Teller, Schull and Roundtree there in the pits. Ollie Henley, Robo, Ludgate, the only three up the top of the order who are yet to pit. Oh, and there we go, a little bit wide from Fleetly, just out of nowhere, just opens the door for Mr. T, who's going to take that opportunity immediately. Fleetly on the attack to try and get that back, but it's not going to happen. Very nice move there from Mr. T. Let's see that again. Just messing up the S's a little bit. Now he's going for it around the outside, but you're never really going to make that around the outside of a hairpin, I don't think. A very opportunistic, very good move there from Mr. T. Right behind them, we've got a nice little battle here as well. Weschelberg actually making this interesting because he's a back marker in there. Dixon Chen has dived past him, gone a little bit wide on the exit there, but you can do that without losing too much time. The BMW line Muller now trying to crawl by, and the Bumblebee is going to be the last person to get past Weschelberg. Weschelberg now has quite a way back until he's going to get lapped again, so he can make some time up in this situation. Hopefully for the drivers that's from my side, but I'm not sure about that. Derek Harvey may need to be a little bit careful there, and it's going to fall off possibly as a result of that. Ollie Henley out there in fourth position now, having hit, so I think that one went really well for him. I think he made up quite a few positions, staying out in the lead, going for those long moves, as I have often talked about. I think the overcut works pretty well in this sort of GT racing. Weschelberg in the pits as well, so that's it. That is every driver, as far as I know, into the pits, and we're back into a few different chains of drivers. The two Audis here being chased down by that actually back marker AMG, and then slightly further down Andre and the line Muller. Wagner's trying to hold off the BMW Walter. Van Schungel actually almost side by side with someone here. But I think he's giving away that position. Yep. Doesn't want to get hit with another warning. mean, tyres definitely do seem to be wearing a bit quicker now, but there's a lot of things that make overcuts better that aren't just the tyres being really strong, which still in ACC the tyres are pretty well lasting. But it comes down to traffic management, it comes down to fuel levels, especially in these longer races. And it comes down to the early laps being slowed down behind other cars. There's a lot to it. Hello. Well, we've got another Weller. This is outrageous. We can't have two Wellers. It'll be confusing. So for some reason we get those two cameras rolling around way too often. We're on with Walters chasing down Vargas. These two have been stuck together for quite a long time. A lot of the battles that we have going on right now are ones that have been lasting for a long time. There's very few of them that look like something could happen any moment. A lot of them are just sort of people who seem to be waiting for a mistake to make a move. Everyone's sort of settled into their positions, it seems, for the last 15 minutes.
Still up yet?
Lots of very consistent battles there. Back marker there, just getting in the way slightly of Tellers, which could slow him down, but unfortunately also going to be a pretty even treatment for both drivers there. Christie doesn't get it. He sort of looks like he's making a bit of a dive there, but that's really on the back marker more than the car in front of him. And Schungel still very much slowing down that Audi. That is super unfortunate for Christie. That's really ruined his chase of Tellers for now. So Miro really is going on workman now. Just behind him you can see Ludgate. But he's in one of these positions that we always talk about as being so tricky, because you need to make a move, and if you don't make a move, then the car behind you is going to take any opportunity to ruin that. A little bit too wide there, and exactly as I said, Ludgate is just poured into the slot there as soon as there was a gap. And Noah's just had a little bit of an off as well. He spun around. That's an awkward place to do it, but pretty easy. He has to rejoin nice and safely there. Oh no, the second spin. It's easy to do, but doesn't stop it being a little bit embarrassing. So here we're gonna pop back into Weschelberg and Sachs, having a little bit of a battle.
Still up yet?
Thank you for all the follows we've had. We've had quite a few from the streams. It's been very nice to see you all coming in. Oh, we also had a follow about 40 minutes ago from the legendary Big Slabber Me, everybody's favourite name on SGP. So shout out to him. But here we get to see Jonathan Schungel not as a back marker for once. He's actually in a little bit of it's actually a freeway fight there between Gabriele Blamschein, Jonathan Schungel, and Shane Thomas. He's had a bit of a nightmare in that Lamborghini. Let's sit on board with a Lamborghini. I do not often get a chance to sit on board with a Lamborghini, and we can watch this battle commence from inside here. We have a much nicer run through the hairpin right on the back of the AMG. Slightly better exit there as well, but not really able to make anything happen through the curb of death. Just needs to stay back with this for the run down to turn 1. Seems to have the pace pretty well on Jonathan Schungel, so it seems it's just getting past maybe the consistency in this car that's really holding Shane down. Around the outside into turn 1. Going to be left out to dry a little bit there. They're going to go side by side into 3. Manage neither to die there. Oh, almost spoke too soon. And you see, this seems to be Shane's problem in the Lambo. He's still plenty fast. You can see that by how much pressure he was putting on Jonathan there, but just hard to keep that car stable, it seems, when you are pushing as fast as these guys have to. Workman still being chased down by Miro, just ahead of Birthday Boy Ludgate. Some more battles further in front, which are starting to come to a head as well. Being chased down by Clearly. Well, he's got a really nice exit from that corner there, has really put him out of any sort of aggressive dive range. One of those tracks where a lot of these situations seem to be so similar, where there is one person behind who is sort of gaining up traction, gaining up ground through the second sector, but then is not able to make the move on turn 1. Better exits from the last corner, better speed on the straight, whatever it is. It can keep another car in front, even if they are slower elsewhere. Ludgate now on the back of Miro. Look, he must have ended somewhere. Just further behind with the next group of cars. Just ahead of Roundtree. Looks to be another one of those where Jonathan Schungel seems to catch up to Gabriel through the second sector, but then through sector 3 he just loses out a little bit. That hairpin seems to be quite a hard spot for him. These next few corners aren't looking great in the Mercedes. Yeah, he's taken a much deeper line in there. It really must be annoying Shane. Shane is coming out there with so much more speed, but it's just not a place where you can get past someone. right there from Shane. This sector 1 is not looking good for the Lambo. William T just passed the back marker there. Well, and Dread Dixon Shen is still being... For some reason Automod didn't let your message through there, Roy, because you said the word put. Apparently Automod thinks that put is an unacceptable word. That Lambo wants to put Shane into a wall, which I think is absolutely correct. And I apologise if I get the channel banned for saying the word put, which clearly is somehow rude in a way I don't understand. Ollie Henley catching up to Dave Jr. He already made a really nice run of it through the pit stop phase to gain himself some positions, putting Aston Martin up into P4. He is looking for one better than that on Dave Jr. out here. Very similar liveries. They were orange, black and white. Only 7 minutes left for Ollie Henley to make this move. Just behind him, almost even getting some action between the two Audis. Mr. T going a little bit wide there, almost as Fleetly did a few laps ago. Not quite going to lose the position though, so now it's all up to Ollie Henley to try and take this one from Junior, who's going very defensive as they run into the first corner. Trying to do an undercut, and it looks like the BMW has taken himself a little bit wide. The Aston Martin has the inside line, and he's taken the position. Fantastic work there by Ollie Henley, putting himself up onto the podium. Work there by Ollie Henley. Shout out to him. We'll now see if he manages to pull out a bit of a lead on Dave Jr. or if Dave Jr. is going to get a chance to come back at him. Looks like Guillaume Hamling is starting to join the battle between Dixon Chen and Leinmuller as well. That's going to be one to watch out for.
The window is now closed.
There we go, that message means that there's only 5 minutes left in today's race. Thank you all for coming out to watch us. If you don't know, ACCSS, we are a league primarily for rookie and mid-pack drivers, but this is our pro split, the fastest of the fast boys in our community. And this race happens every Sunday with our lower splits on Friday and Saturday. With all our wonderful rookies. So make sure to hit follow if you haven't, and come to get notified for our further races, or join our Discord where we'll pop out an announcement each time we go live. Here is the freeway now between Dixon Chen, Leinmuller and Hamling, who we will sit on board with to experience this with. Exclamation mark sign up, I believe, does work now. for that elusive P10, even though in our series points do go down to P15. Back marker Alexei nicely getting out of the way. First sector where the Audi does have its advantage. We are well into the slipstream here, both the cars ahead. No one close enough to make a move, but everyone stuck right together. I think we are about to come on to the second to last lap, perhaps even the last lap depending on the times. It's going to be close. I think it might be the last lap. Working really nice through that last sector, which just makes it incredibly difficult to overtake. And we're going to stick on here right to the end. Steve Donald's still just ahead of Jack Harvey as well. They're doing very well to keep up there, but as he's coming through the last sector, our victorious Crack D Racing Porsche, driven by Jamie Nuttall, was led from lights to flag. Not quite a Grand Chelem, because he did come in slightly earlier than some of the other drivers, but a huge shout out for him in the pastel colours, coming through to take the first victory of season 11. Jamie Nuttall.
Has finished the race.
Steve Hughes, an ACCSS regular, is going to cross the line just behind him. With Ollie Henley. Actually, Ollie Henley was incredibly close at the ending there. That was really impressive. He'd made up a lot of time later on in this race. A lot of people just slowing down for the end of the race. There are our top 15 drivers. Those are the guys who will be getting points for today's race. Jamie Nuttall, Steve Hughes, Ollie Henley, Dave Jr., Steve Donald, Jack Harvey, Mr. T, Sam Fleety, Andre Dixon Chen, Sebastian Leinmuller, Guillaume Hamling, Octavian Robu, John Dudley, Uzail Tellez, and Richard Christie. Shout out to all of those guys, to everyone who has joined us for the stream, to people like Big Slav and me, TW Weller, Florian JBT, Jotajutsu, Tobishi, Hosley Kiers, Big Basti, Kotajo, RailC17, all for subscribing, and for Fouling Light, who has subbed today, hoping for a clean race. And we did get a clean race. It was pretty reasonably clean overall. So, big GG's, as said in the chat. Thank you all for coming to watch, and we'll see you next Friday for a race with the Rookie and Silver Split at Brands Hatch. So make sure to join the community if you haven't, and get involved in some of these great races. Goodbye.